So what are a couple tips and tricks? Like maybe I'm listening to this podcast. I have a lot of blue collar guys that tune into this. Like, what should I do? What's the next step?
For sure. And so this might go to like, what are the tools available to me in estate planning? There's kind of a couple areas that we need to make sure that we cover. The first that isn't really the first thing that people are thinking about. Usually when you're thinking about an estate planning attorney, you're like, who's going to get my stuff when I die? Mm-hmm. Reality, the most value that we can provide someone is making sure that if there's ever a period in someone's life where they can't make decisions for themselves, that they've appointed another individual to make those decisions for them, and what decisions can they make. So that's typically through a financial power of attorney and a medical power of attorney. A big misconception that most people have is that if I'm married, a spouse can make decisions for me, where they really actually don't have any legal authority to make decisions for you. Does that make sense? So that financial and medical power of attorney are like baseline, absolute necessity. Even if married, you got to have those documents in place so that your spouse can make medical decisions for you and financial decisions for you.
This episode is brought to you by Pierre Tax and Accounting, led by CPA Eric Pierre, a seasoned accounting and tax expert with years of experience helping individuals and businesses navigate complex financial landscapes. Whether you need personal tax planning, business tax strategy, bookkeeping, or financial planning support, Eric and his team are committed to helping you protect and grow your financial future with clarity and confidence. To get expert guidance you can trust, check out Pierre Tax and Accounting at pierreaccounting.com. We'd also like to thank Data Driven Decisions, founded by Katy Forster, for sponsoring today's show. Data Driven Decisions specializes in accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and advisory services tailored specifically for small businesses and entrepreneurs who want financial clarity and peace of mind. From KPI reporting to fractional CFO support and QuickBooks training, Katy's team brings big firm expertise with a personal touch. Visit them at datadriven.coach to see how smart financial support can make all the difference in your business growth. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Hitters Podcast. I'm joined by Michael Rutkowski, who is a friend of mine from Rise Up Kings. And Michael is an all-around stud. He has an estate planning firm, wealth management. He oversees Rise Up Kings Fitness now. He is a man of many talents. He is a serial guy, and I'm really excited to dive into it here with him today. I have not had an estate planning attorney on my show. So I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of interesting information that comes from that. Michael, tell us your story, man. How did you get into what you're doing now today?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Man, like all the way back. So sales and marketing degree at Western, and my parents were like, hey, you need to do more school. So your options are master's or something else. My father-in-law was a lawyer. So I was like sort of interested in that. And in college, I took like a business law class, and I was like, well, that's really interesting. So funny story, like 3 days before the LSAT test, which is what gets you into law school, I just like on a whim, I'm like, I'll sign up and take it. That sounds pretty good. And this is just how my whole life has been. And so passed it just by like 2 points to get into law school. I was literally
studied just enough.
I actually didn't study at all. And my buddy, who is like, you know, he's like the pedigree lawyer, like dad was lawyer, grandpa was lawyer, the whole thing. You know, he studied for like 6 months for the test. And in the middle of the exam, when we were on break, I was like, hey, is it better if I answer the questions or should I not answer the questions? And he was like, he just looks at me and he's like, dude, like, get out of here. I'm so mad right now. And I mean, that's just my life. Like, you know, did it on a whim, got into law school. I did the 2-year accelerated program, which is absolutely insane. It's normally like a 3-year program. And next thing you know, I'm a lawyer, and I was working for my father-in-law doing workers' comp insurance defense stuff, like your typical TV stuff, right? I'm like in trials and depositions and all these things. I was like, it wasn't really sitting well with me, but I was like, this is what being a lawyer is all about. And then all of a sudden my friends started having kids and they were coming to me and like, Mike, I know there's something I need to do. Will something like that, like help me. And I'm like, well, I'm a lawyer. I'll figure this out. And next thing you know, like putting in place estate plans for families where the whole experience is the expectations are set in advance. They know what the fee is going to be. Like you get done and they give you a hug. And I'm like, I need to do this for the rest of my life. And so this was like 2009 and haven't looked back. I slowly started doing some estate planning for my father-in-law's firm. It was growing to the point where it's like the business versus estate planning practice wasn't meshing. He's like, dude, you need to go do this. So I slowly opened my own practice and now we are here. We're going on like 20 years soon. And it's been a wild ride, to say the least, just through COVID and all the changes and things. And I just love it. And now
Okay, so I don't know I know that like I'm a financial advisor by trade, and financial advisors always measure based on assets under management or personal production or whatever. How does an estate planning attorney even measure his volume or effectiveness? Like, how do you guys kind of do that? I'm curious.
Yeah, interestingly versus financial planning, there's no recurring revenue in it, right? Like 95% of everything we're going to do for a client is typically upfront outside of some minor changes along the way. So It's a very transactional type business where it's like, we're constantly doing marketing. We're constantly looking to our past clients for referral networks, but it's always, kind of a endless cycle of trying to get new clients.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm really curious to hear. So what are like, I know an estate plan, and this is probably going to be a good kick in the butt for myself to like get some of this stuff figured out. But like, what are some of the things you're normally doing with somebody, creating a will, an estate, a trust? Like, what are some of the things you normally help people do?
The interesting thing is TV, media, all of it has taught us, ingrained in us over all the things that we've seen, that a will is like the gold standard in estate planning. Like 9 out of 10 families that call our office, they say they want to put in place a will or have their will changed or whatever. And then they list off, when we get into like, what are you trying to accomplish with the will? These are all things that trusts do. They're like, avoid the probate court, like make sure my kids don't fight over things, delay the distributions for my minor kids so that they get like half at 25, half at 30, protect my assets. These are all things that can happen in a trust that can't happen in a will, but we've all been taught that like a will is the thing that we need, right? It's like the first thing we think of when we're like, okay, I need to do something. Let's put in place a will.
What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by Von Finch Investments. If you're a business owner or investor looking to grow your wealth beyond the stock market, you need to check out Von Finch Investments. They give you access to institutional quality real estate and private credit deals without the headaches of managing properties yourself. Their model is built around alignment. They invest alongside you, and they only win when you win. If you want passive income, tax efficiency, and real asset exposure, Von Finch is worth a serious look. What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it. So what are a couple tips and tricks? Like maybe I'm listening to this podcast. I have a lot of blue collar guys that tune into this. Like, what should I do? What's the next step?
For sure. And so this might go to like, what are the tools available to me in estate planning? There's kind of a couple areas that we need to make sure that we cover. The first that isn't really the first thing that people are thinking about. Usually when you're thinking about an estate planning attorney, you're like, who's going to get my stuff when I die? Reality, the most value that we can provide someone is making sure that if there's ever a period in someone's life where they can't make decisions for themselves, that they've appointed another individual to make those decisions for them, and what decisions can they make. So that's typically through a financial power of attorney and a medical power of attorney. A big misconception that most people have is that if I'm married, a spouse can make decisions for me, where they really actually don't have any legal authority to make decisions for you. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that financial and medical power of attorney are like baseline, absolute necessity. Even if married, you got to have those documents in place so that your spouse can make medical decisions for you and financial decisions for you. Then from there, we're looking at things like, okay, when a lot of questions I get is like, when should I start thinking about this? And usually it's like, as soon as you have kids, as soon as you have real estate, those are like really when I should be thinking about putting in place an estate plan. And the reason being is that, you wouldn't want minors to inherit any money. I know me, I have 3 daughters. They're 14, 12, and 10. If they received anything right now, they're only caring about a couple things. It's like skincare, roadblocks, Lululemon, like you name it. They're not thinking about saving for college, saving for retirement. So what you can do as a parent is put in place provisions that say, they can use money early for things like school, education, medical bills, a roof over their head, like all the important things you would have provided had you been here to provide for them. You can say the trust assets can be used for those things in advance, but then they maybe get half at age 25, half at age 30, something like that. You can delay and have a little control over those distributions. The other really important thing as you're having children is who would be the parents of the kids in the event you can't be. So this would be like guardianship appointments, essentially picking the parents for your kids, because otherwise the reality is this is all going to be wrapped up in the probate court. Some judge is going to take about 5 minutes to pick who would be the parents of your kids for the rest of their life. And my guess is they might not pick the right people. So you can put in place a plan that says all of these things. That's like the basic foundation of when you should start estate planning. Get in place a simple trust, financial medical powers of attorney, and then you can build from there. Like as you grow your net worth and you need to start thinking about asset protection. If you're a business owner, like asset protection is a huge thing, because an LLC is only going to protect you from, if something happens in your business, they can't get after your personal assets if you're structured properly. Well, what a trust can do for you is the protection the other way. You get in a car accident, they can't touch your business assets. Hold those in an asset protection trust. Lots of layers of complexity we can build on that foundational plan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know that we were texting recently and you have added wealth management. So you got a couple things going on. So that's a nice sidestep. I think that probably conversation comes up pretty naturally, but what else do you kind of have under the umbrella?
Yeah, great question. So wealth management is a big thing. We've partnered with financial planners over the years, but it's always been kind of a dream of mine to have everything under one roof. So not only financial planning, but tax services also, so that, someone can come to one place, get all the answers, because the reality is that there should be much more coordination of financial planning, estate planning, tax planning, but we're all so busy that it just never happens. We might have one conversation while the plan's getting set up, but y'all know, everyone just gets so busy, where if I had this all under one roof, we could service the clients so much better. It has been incredibly well received. It's just such a great natural add-on to the practice. Next step's going to be adding tax services as well, just to do it all under one roof. It's like
Got to.
Yeah, it's the home office for the person who doesn't have 500 plus million.
I love that. What is going really well with your business right now, and what are some challenges you guys are facing?
Yeah, leads are always I kind of laugh when I say this, but I'm almost serious. We're really like a marketing and sales organization, where we focus so heavily on marketing, because leads, having to constantly generate leads without much recurring revenue is always the biggest challenge. And the interesting thing, but thing I kind of love is that like we're on the forefront of marketing when it comes to estate planning. I mean, to be honest, most estate planning attorneys are your general 65 plus year old, gray haired guy he's stuck in his ways. He doesn't do a whole heck of a lot of marketing. He's built his business. He's happy doing what he's doing. So when it comes to like the growth that I'm looking to do and the things I'm looking to do, we're kind of like the pioneers trying all the things. I mean, we're doing all the social media stuff, all the, seminars, webinars, you name it, we've tried it. And we just, continue to try to do different things differently than everyone else.
What's been the most successful that you found? Has there been anything that's been scalable that you found besides referrals?
Yeah. So interestingly, pre-COVID, we had grown to 5 offices located in Michigan where we were doing everything by seminar marketing. Your typical send out a bunch of dinner invitations. We were doing about 12 to 14 every single month. And it was so scalable and repeatable. And then all of a sudden COVID happens and we can't do anything in person. And we completely reinvent the wheel and have to reinvent our entire marketing plan because we can no longer do those. We tried webinars. It didn't work. We've dove deep into digital advertising. So Google, LSA ads, organic SEO, Meta, all of those type of ads have now replaced, but it's been like a 4-year process of constantly iterating to get it to where we need to be, see the ROI we need to see. And that was all driven by looking back at my life pre-COVID of, typically it was like, get up in the morning. I was doing CrossFit at the time, 5 a.m. at a CrossFit gym, work all day. I've got these young daughters, never seeing them. I'm lucky to get at home to like kiss them goodnight because I'm doing so many seminars. And when COVID hit and we like rebuilt the whole thing, I was like, I am never going back to that again. And so it was a constant push to continue to have this work-life balance that I was like unwilling to give up. And the cool thing is now we get reached out to by estate planners all over the country because we were just relentless on our unwillingness to go back into the office. We still meet with 85+% of all the families virtually. We serve families all over the country. It's a completely different business model. And, I won't go back to doing it the old way, which has been just a struggle at times, but love it. I love the challenge.
Dude, that's literally what led to my mental breakdown was my college funding business. I was driving up to Fort Collins and down to Colorado Springs, spending $5-10 to get butts and seats. And, we had 3 families show up and I'm like, great, I'm out of business in 3 months if this keeps happening, dude. So I feel your pain. It's literally the same hamster wheel that, and then, I was like, my kids are grown up right in front of me. So,
Yep. So I just continue to build in that work-life balance. And, it's not like I'm not putting in the time, but it's a completely different thing to be here to get the kids off to school in the morning. And then I'm just like walking in my office. And so I'm working from here and like they get home from school, maybe at 3:30. I'm hearing them. I'm here for them. I might still be working, but I can pop in and out. And it's a totally different life than, what I thought it was going to be. And I absolutely love it.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rutkowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rutkowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rutkowskilawfirm.com. What else do you have going on? Because I know you're a serial guy. You're very enterprising. So I know you're doing the Ruck Fitness. What else? Yep. What kind of irons do you have in the fire?
So the other thing that I have going right now is during COVID, I kind of got bored and I started a company called trustfunding.com. And so what that is it's a back office service company to law firms all over the country to provide funding service. What that means is when you do a trust, you have to put all of your assets into the trust in order for it to work. There's a wide variety of how that actually happens. Sometimes it's beneficiary designations, sometimes it's retitling the assets, doing deeds to property. But if everything's not in your trust, everything that you were setting out to do, nothing's going to work. It's all going to end up in probate. And so you have to fund your trust. Estate planners know this, but 99% of them don't do anything when it comes to funding. They literally do the documents, they slide them across the table, and they say, client, it is now on you to go run around to all your institutions, change all the beneficiaries. And the reality is that never happens. And so in my law firm, I've been doing funding ever since I started it because I noticed that so many families were coming in to do amendments and do these things and make changes. And then we get to the point of the conversation where I'm like, okay, tell me a little bit about what's in your trust. And they're like, what do you mean? I paid all this money to this lawyer. Doesn't that mean everything's in my trust? And literally nothing was in their trust. So my law firm has been doing funding ever since, like the inception. And during COVID, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start a company that works with consumers that have worked with another estate planning law firm to do the funding for them. What ended up happening, though, really quickly is that people don't know they have a problem. So in the marketing plan, I have to first educate people that you have a problem and then educate them that I have the solution. At the same time, all these law firms are reaching out to me and being like, Mike, I love what you're doing. I see the value in funding. I don't want to staff it. Could you do it for me? And like complete 180 almost instantly, we started just working with businesses. So now it's all B2B and we just service law firms. They pass over their clients to us. We take care of the funding for them. They absolutely love it. They can make revenue on the deal for them. They'll typically upcharge our services. And it's been a really cool growing thing. With all of these businesses, though, it's like there's just never enough time. I need to clone me to really put in the time.
Dude, not to pitch my own thing. Let me get you a couple amazing VAs. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about AI for a sec. You're a very progressive, forward-thinking guy. I know that's how we originally engaged was on the AI automations. We're building a pretty cool one for your estate planning practice, but how are you leveraging AI and where do you see the future of your space as affected by AI?
Here's the reality is that I feel like I use it a ton, and I do. I use it all day. If I were to describe myself as an AI user, I'd probably give myself a 3 out of 10 because I know it's capable of so much more. But the reality is in my law practice, it is now helping me do probably what me and 3 junior associates would do as far as, helping with scripting emails back to clients when they have questions or, drafting amendments. I'm all pro AI, absolutely love it. I feel like our firm is ahead of the curve on using it and open to constantly learning. I mean, I'm in there every day. Right now I'm making the switch between chat and Claude and just seeing the differences there. But yeah, I absolutely hands down love it. I think it's going to just be such a game changer for the legal practice as a whole.
Where do you feel like it's most shaping the estate planning space?
In document prep and document drafting, it is just incredible in, taking notes for us as we're meeting with clients and, summarizing back to clients so they can get clarity on what the decisions were that they made. It's really great at drafting and helping draft amendments, getting creative with language. When someone has a really unique situation, AI is incredible about getting creative on that language to show to clients. I mean, everywhere really. We did try a reception service through AI. It wasn't quite ready. It was very, at first, the demo seemed like we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to just replace all the employees in the law firm. This is absolutely incredible. By the time we built it out, it was still too AI, but we're close. I mean, I think the practice itself in 2 years from now, when we talk, is going to be a completely different experience.
Yeah, I love that. What's one thing we haven't talked about today that gets you fired up? You get fired up about a lot of stuff, but
I
what's one thing
do.
we haven't covered?
Um,
Yeah.
No, work is great. I love being with the kids. Wake surfing is a thing that I'm like super
Oh,
into.
yeah. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm an alternative sports guy. My whole life, it's kind of funny. I like grew up the fat kid, which is I think what like motivated me to constantly be so into fitness and health and all those things. But I was like the aggressive inline skater, the freestyle skier, like those were all my things. I used to like travel the world freestyle skiing and wakeboarding and like going to wakeboard camps everywhere and whatever. And so, that all kind of slowed down as I got into my professional career. I wasn't doing it as much. And I always had a dream of having like a wakeboard boat. But if you know anything about wakeboard boats, they've all transitioned to these surfing things. So they now put out this incredible wave that you can actually surf behind the boat with no rope. It's so cool. And so my like obsession now is, because I was like the skateboarder, the snowboarder, all those things, is my kids now, they learned how to wakeboard and they were like, Dad, we like wakeboarding. So I was like, yes, we're getting the boat. And now they all are obsessed with surfing. So like, that's what we pretty much spend our summers. It's such a great family activity. We'll go out on the boat. You're like jamming tunes. We're all at about the same level. So we're pushing each other on like tricks and things. But yeah, it's like,
we used to live on Lake Norman in Charlotte, and I loved going wake surfing. So you shouldn't have told me that. I'm coming to visit. I'm going to hang out with you. Let's do it.
It is the best. Yeah, that's my like number one hobby for sure right now, outside of just like the normal stuff of like working out and whatever. But yeah,
I love that.
I cannot wait for this weather to change here in Michigan.
Well, Mike, you and I know each other through Rise Up Kings. I always like to get a little soundbite for those guys. But how has it helped your life, business, ministry, all the above?
I would say it has completely changed my life in so many ways. We can start by just talking about the obvious of like the faith component of my life. So kind of the quick story there is raised Catholic, through college and whatever, kind of stepped away from the faith outside of your traditional Christmas, Easter, and all the things that your parents really want you to go to. And, there was an event in my life about 12 years ago, which kind of brought us back into curiosity around God and faith and everything. And so we joined I call it like a big box church. The name of the church was Kensington, but it's like your Christian, like music is jamming. They're talking about real life. It was so good. And our kids love it too. So that kind of got us back into just exploring faith. And then, the funny thing about the Rise Up Kings event was that I was getting served all these ads for these guys working out. Now I do like all the masterminds. I'm all in on the Ed Milet stuff, and you name it, I've tried it. I've joined all these business groups and whatever. And so I'm getting served these ads of these guys working out. And my idea of what Rise Up Kings was through the social media ads was like these bad, mother guys, whatever. They're working out in the morning and then they're going to class in the afternoon doing your normal business stuff. That's literally what I thought it was. I had no idea it had anything to do with it until I got on a call with them. And I'm like, I've tried so many things that I haven't had success on. I'm open to anything. And I'm like, I was talking to my brother-in-law. I'm like, you want to do it? Like, let's do it. And so we went, and it was like the most life-changing 3 days ever. And so I kind of listened to Skylar's podcast to learn what he was all about prior to going. And I started some of his like journaling rituals, Bible reading. I mean, you name it. I was like, I'm all in. Like, let's just try it and see what happens. And the way God has changed my life in the last year, I mean, to this day, I think I went last week, a year ago today. It's just been incredible how it's shown up in my life, in my business, in my relationship with my kids, like just their level of faith has just grown tremendously. The people that I've surrounded myself with now because of the organization, I mean, I could talk all day on just how impactful that 3 days has been. And now running in parallel with all these other guys who are constantly pushing each other to level up in all areas of their life. I can't say enough about it.
I love that. Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. If people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
Our website for the law firm is probably the easiest thing, rutkowskilawfirm.com. That's RUTKOWSKI lawfirm.com. Also shoot me an email. It's mlr@rutkowskilawfirm.com, RUTKOWSKI lawfirm.com. Hit me there.
I know this is true, but you have like a free consult type thing. It's like, hey, just reach out, guys. I know that as you're listening to this, I know I was as well. It's like, dang, I got to get my stuff in order. Like, why wouldn't you take him up on a free consult? It's a no-brainer. So definitely take advantage of that. Mike's a great friend of the show. And thank you so much for coming on the show. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the podcast.
Perfect, for sure. Take care, guys.